I'm getting India Victor ready for my flight today. I'm going to Gloucestershire Airport to find out what on earth is going on there. It's one of, if not the, busiest general aviation airfields in the UK, but it's been going through some serious troubles. It's been making eye-watering losses, it's up for sale, and now they've just announced that there'll be no air traffic control there for 10 days over the busy summer season.
Got full power set, temperatures and pressures are in the green, airspeed is increasing. We've got 50 knots and we're before the tower continuing. Gloucester is a very popular airfield and it was once seen, I think, in the UK as one of the best GA airfields going. They have at least two really big fixed-wing flying schools there, if not more than that. They do a lot of commercial training, a lot of instrument traffic, but there's a bit of uncertainty about it all really, because it was notified or it was leaked that it was being put up for sale by its owners, the local district or borough councils, Cheltenham and Gloucester councils, which own it. And that raised fears about its future. You know, would any new owner want to keep it as an airfield or an airfield as it is now, and if they're selling it, why are they selling it, that kind of thing. So lots of uncertainty when those kind of things happen. And then they've just now announced that they're going to have a series of ATC closures in the busy summer period, like whole days where ATC is closed. So it's raised a lot of consternation in the GA community. How can one of the best, busiest GA airfields be in such a situation? So that's my plan today, is to get to the bottom of this and try and get some answers to your questions about it. Gloucester Tower, Golf Bravo Mike, India Victor, just entering the ATZ from the south, altitude 2,100 feet.
Golf Bravo Mike, India Victor, Gloucester Tower, report DC on dead side.
Wilco, Golf India Victor.
You can understand the concerns of GA businesses and pilots and aircraft owners who are based here. Only 11 years ago, the airport faced the threat of closure. According to BBC News, the two councils that own it were then considering whether to sell the site for a development of 3,500 homes. The fact that they want to sell it again now has rung alarm bells. I'm hoping to meet up with the airfield's managing director to see if I can get to the bottom of the situation. But firstly, let me just mention that if you're concerned about the state of GA in the UK, please consider joining AOPA. AOPA UK's mission is to secure our freedom to fly. It influences policy, helps GA businesses and pilots, and like you and I, it's concerned about the threat facing our aerodromes. If you're not a member of a representative organisation, do please consider joining AOPA UK. New members can get 25% off new 1 or 2 year memberships with my special discount link on the screen and in the video description.
Scapa 4 Mike 0, number 3 for the Cherokee turning on to 2.5 mile final.
Number 3 looking for traffic, Scapa 4 Mike 0.
Scapa 3 Delta Bravo, runway 27, wind 26 degrees 1.
Busy.
Runway 27, clear to land, runway 3 Delta Bravo. Scapa 1 Tango Mike, gone around and into the upwind.
Scapa 1 Tango Mike, report downwind runway 27 right hand.
Wilco 27 right hand, Scapa 1 Tango Mike.
Golf India Victor, final.
I'm going to make the continue approach 1 ahead to land.
Continue approach, Golf India Victor. Reds, blues and 3 greens.
Golf India Victor, runway 27, land off the Diamond Star, wind 26 degrees 1 knots.
And after the Diamond Star, Golf India Victor.
Scapa 3 Delta Bravo, Baker, Air 521, cross 904, taxi to Skypark.
Left, Charlie 1, cross 04, Wilco, Skypark 3
I think you can tell from this, I mean, a lot of people have been saying if they've got problems with ATC staffing here, which we're going to find out about in a minute, you know, could they operate air-ground or non-radio even? But as you've seen, it is quite busy and a mixture of traffic doing instrument procedures, but it is exceptionally busy here. Whenever I come in here, I find it's quite a handful.
There we go. Let's jump out now, see if we can find the airfield director and get some questions answered. So I've just come in to the airport here, and I've been told that Jason Ivey, the new airport director, has agreed to be interviewed. So that's good news, and we've set up a little camera set up here ready to ask him some questions. Well, thank you for meeting me.
My pleasure, John.
How are things?
Very good, thank you, very good.
Yeah. So what's going on at Gloucester then? Because quite a lot of things have popped up in the last sort of 6 to 12 months, and it's got people worried and spooked. People don't like change, do they?
Of course they don't.
So you've come in fairly recently, haven't you?
Yeah.
And what's happened since then? We know about the sale, we know about the ATC. So let's start with what's happening with the airfield ownership to begin with.
Okay, so the latter parts of last year, both councils decided they want to sell the airport as a going concern. We're 50-50 owned between Cheltenham and Gloucester City Council. That process is well underway. We'll be going to market mid-June with a sort of, we call it the sales brochure, the glossy brochure of exactly what is for sale. We hope that that'll be concluded by 31st of March next year. It will be sold as a going concern, and this is a question that keeps coming up time and time again. There's talk, are we going to build houses? Absolutely nonsense. There will be a restricted covenant put in the sale, and it'll only be an airport moving forward.
So how come the councils wanted to put it up for sale? Do you know what their reasoning is for that?
Well, I think it's fair to say that councils don't run airport as that's not their core business. It's sort of providing local authority services, and I think the councils have been very supportive of the airport up to this point. But we are at a point now where we need that investment, and I think it's a perfect opportunity for that to happen.
Obviously, a new owner will come in with new ideas, new plans, a new strategy. And can you understand, therefore, how your tenants and your GA users, who I mostly represent on my programme, might be a little bit worried about that? What's going to change? You know, it could be sold as an airport, as you say, an airport going as a going concern is what you've said, but that doesn't necessarily mean it will be the airport that we see it today. No,
undoubtedly there could be some changes ahead. But I would reiterate the council's commitment. Everything I've read and heard, talking to multiple councillors, is that there'll be restricted covenants, that the airport must remain a going concern. Myself and my team have put together a strategy of what we'd like to see the airport look like in the future, and we can talk about that in a bit more detail. But it's developing pretty much the business model we have already. So yeah, but I understand where the concerns are coming from. But all I can say is, you know, I've committed to this business along with the SLT, and yeah, that's pretty much it. It will be sold as a going concern.
Yeah, I suppose what people worry about is, you know, what's the business strategy? And we often see, don't we, when there's a change of ownership or new investment, that an airfield changes its focus. And, you know, as light aircraft pilots and users, we're very much at the bottom of the food chain. And we're you know, I've seen it at other airfields that I've been based at before. There's a new strategy, new plan, and GA is no longer welcome, as an example. Can you say anything about your strategy then? And how GA and light aircraft fits into that private flying and so on.
Yeah, sure. So let's do the elephant in the room first. I've been asked about scheduled flights from Gloucestershire Airport. That's not going to happen. With Bristol and Birmingham airports in relatively close proximity, we don't see that as our market. So broadly, John, we're going to build on what we already have, and there's three parts of our business. There's business jet operations, so those who can afford to fly biz jets. There's professional and private pilot training, which we do at the moment. And then there's the MRO, maintenance, repair and overhaul. So that's we see as our three core pillars that we're going to develop.
Let's come on to air traffic control. You know, it kind of looks a bit chaotic, if I may say so. I think it's fair to say, you know, when you're having to close Britain's busiest GA airfield for 10 days of the year, which you've just announced, it just seems like a mess. Would you know, that's surely that you'd accept that that's how it looks?
I understand the concerns, but this should be clear, we're not closing. There are 10 days in a 10-week period where we're going to restrict operations. Now, that has been due to, we've had, in short succession, 3 air traffic control officers handed a notice to move to other airports. And there is a national shortage of air traffic controllers at the moment, and big salaries can tempt people away. And I absolutely get that. But what we've done to support that, we've recruited an additional 5 air traffic controllers, but there is the lag between when somebody resigns and when a controller actually arrives on site and can be useful to us. So, for example, if we had an air traffic controller arrive here tomorrow from Heathrow Airport, they wouldn't be operationally ready for us for about 3 to 4 months, because they need to be validated by the Civil Aviation Authority. So you've got this lag between somebody leaving and us and getting the replacements in place. What we are going to do moving forward to try and hopefully never be in this position again, we're going to overstaff. So I know it's counterintuitive, certainly for the budget holders, when you say, for example, if we need 10 controllers, we can actually recruit 11. But because of what I just explained, with the time frame between someone leaving and someone being operational ready, we'll hopefully cover that gap. But back to your question around the 10-week period, we've worked really, really closely with our operators here. I'm fair to say we've got a great relationship. We talk on a regular basis. And as soon as I knew about these controllers leaving, I called the tenants in and said, right, we've got this many controllers and this many hours. How best do we do it? Now, because of the diverse group I just spoke about with BizJets, GA and MROs, everyone has a different answer. So, but with all the feedback we've received, we've come up with the least impact proposal over the next 10 weeks. So if you think of a 10-week period, we've got 10 days where we're not closed, we are restricted. But our operators now know that in advance, and they can plan accordingly around that.
If I wanted to come and meet you or go and meet someone in Gloucester, I'm not based here. Effectively, you'll be closed to me because I'm not an operator. I'm not based here. I don't have an indemnity.
Not necessarily. No, it's. I mean, without going to the specific days of the roster, no. But we're going to be as open for business as best we can during that time.
It'd be worth telling us what you can tell us about that, because okay, you've probably communicated with your tenants as to what the plan is. If somebody wants to visit Gloucester, and they may come here regularly, I don't know, to drop in an aeroplane for maintenance, or they might come have regular routes that they do for business in the local area. What will it mean for them? What will this restricted opening, if you want to call it, what will that mean for them? How will it work? How will somebody who's not based here be able to come in and use the airport on those days that you have the restrictions?
Well, normal procedures would apply. You'd contact briefing and say you're at this airport, you want to fly on that particular day, and we'll manage it accordingly. Now, because there are those 10 days within that 10-week period where there are restrictions, it's not going to be a full service, but we'll do everything in our power to sort of to facilitate that. And some of the days, John, we'll have to tactically manage it on the day, but we'll be doing our very best to keep that open.
So just I mean, pilots want detail, don't they?
Yes.
And is it the fact that the detail isn't quite mapped out yet, or is it that I suppose what people want to know is, okay, on these 10 days that you're going to be operating restricted use, are you saying that people can call up, see if they can come in, you will do it, you will let them in if you can manage it, or if you can manage the traffic on that day? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
There is a chance that they might be turned away, or they might have to come at a different time on that day, or something like that, is what you're saying?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah. And all this is a massive balancing act, because we're trying to support our base operators and tenants, those that sort of make this airport operate. And of course, we'd be remiss not to take on board the desires from people based outside. So, yeah, as best endeavours. And I hope that doesn't sound sort of a throwaway statement, but we will do our absolute best to support them.
We'll see what happens, and people will be understanding of your predicament with ATC. However, this isn't a new problem. This has been 3, 4, maybe even longer in the making. The ATC shortage, certainly around COVID times, it became very, very heightened.
Yes.
Therefore, has there been a failure to foresee this coming?
In hindsight, could we have planned better? Possibly, but we had 3 resignations in short succession, and we can't legislate for that. What I would say is to make it an enjoyable and an attractive place for air traffic controllers. We've recently invested £500,000 in upgrading the air traffic control facilities. We've completely reviewed their pay structures. We've done other little bits and bobs, so we're making it as good as we possibly can. The problem we have, and it's a national issue, some of the big airports now are paying salaries that airports at this level, regional airports, we just can't compete against. And money talks, and I absolutely get that from an air traffic control point of view. These guys and girls come to work for their families. Some of these big airports are offering £100,000 plus salaries. Well, the economics don't work. As much as I don't want to lose my team, there comes that economic piece where we can't do anything about it.
It is about money, you're right, but it's not all about money. And people will be based here at Gloucester Airport because of the lifestyle, the locality, family, and everything else. And I wonder to what extent these resignations have come. And I'm not asking you to breach confidences and so on, but do you think there is a potential that the change of leadership, the uncertainty about the airport's future, its sale, has been the catalyst for some of these air traffic controllers to decide it's now time to move on?
Yeah, short answer is no. I've spoken to 3 individuals and tried to ascertain what the reasons, and it's a variety of relocating with family. Finances played a big part, i.e., larger, more attractive salaries. We don't operate a radar service here. Some of these airports are offering the chance for these controllers to validate it as radar operators, and with that comes, obviously more money, and then onward bigger career progression plans. But I was very, very aware of the change that I was making. That did cross my mind. Is it something that me or one of my team was doing this could have possibly forced him out the door, and that couldn't be further from the truth.
Whenever an airfield has to downgrade its air traffic control service because of staffing or whatever it is, we saw a lot of it in COVID. People often say, "Oh, why can't you downgrade to air ground or FISO? Why do you have to close the service or restrict it as you have done here?" Is that because of your license? Is that because of the type of traffic? What can you say about that?
Absolutely fair questions to ask. We haven't operated an air-ground service in the past, but because of this unprecedented situation we're in, we've put a proposal forward to the Civil Aviation Authority to operate an air-ground service to try and fill in some of these gaps during these 10-day restrictions over the 10-week period. So we're confident that will be approved. So I would, if I was a betting man, I'd say we'd probably have a combination of a normal air traffic control service with air ground filling in the gaps as and when. So
you think it's possible then, because that sort of helps me understand your previous answer to my previous question about whether visitors will be able to come in.
Yeah.
It's still somewhat up in the air as to what kind of service on those days you'll be able to provide.
It is, yeah. But hopefully the air ground piece shows the commitment for the airport, where we are hand on heart doing everything we possibly can to minimise disruption and maximise our tenants and our visitors' operations here.
And how long before you're up to sort of full staffing again, or at least being able to confidently keep the airport unrestricted again?
Yeah, so as I said, we've recruited 5 additional air traffic controllers, and we think by the end of October, with a fair wind, that obviously weather dependent and traffic levels, we should be back to a normal keel, and then that will then continue, and then by March next year, we want to be in a position where we're overstaffed. So we're never in this situation again.
You mentioned radar just now, and you talk about controllers wanting that radar experience and that radar ticket. And you kind of on your AIP, you've got radar as a service. And I think in the old days you used to have a radar here, and then it went primary only, and then it's sort of gone altogether. So tell me about that. Is that coming back?
Not in the short term. So there is the physical radar here, but it's more used for a situation awareness. The cost of investing in a radar are quite significant, sort of £4 to £5 million, 3 years of training, and about £250,000 in training the guys and girls to get up to that point. I think it's probably something I would like to talk to the new investors, new owners in due course about doing, but that's where we are as a business right now, John. That's not something we're going to be looking at.
What's your background then? I think you mentioned as we walked in here, you were at CAA for a bit. You used to be the inspector for my airfield at Redhill, the aerodrome inspector.
Right, yeah.
And then at Farnborough, did you say you were as well?
Yeah. So it's all aviation. So I started off in the Air Force as a firefighter, and then moved into civilian airport fire service in Cardiff and Manchester. I worked at the CAA as an aerodrome inspector. So doing all, you're familiar with what that role looks like. And I've held a number of other senior roles. So I was the airport director at Cranfield. I was the operations manager at Farnborough. I was the operations director at London Southend, and more recently the operations director at London Oxford, and here I am today.
Yeah, it's interesting, that background, and people will pick up on that as well. The airfields that you've been at are not your typical Gloucester. They're not your typical light aircraft airfield, are they? They're more exclusive. And so in your vision for the future, just coming back on that point and thinking about your background and your experience, Can you just talk to me about how you see GA operating here as, when everything's sort of, the dust has settled and you've had a chance to get your plans underway, what does it look like here?
What, for GA?
Yeah.
GA are integral to our operations moving forward, absolutely. I mean, if you look, we were the busiest GA airfield last year, 68,000 movements. There is definitely a place for GA here. The three sort of pillars that I spoke about, we need to develop those. I'd like to see a bit more with the business jet operations side of things, but we're working closely with our flying schools at the moment to sort of develop that GA sort of functionality.
How's it been? How long did you came? Last August, wasn't it? You came.
Started 31st of July. Yeah.
So you're coming up for a year almost.
Yeah.
How's it been? It seems like it's been a bit of a baptism by far, I'd say.
Honest or tactful answer. It's been a challenge, but that's why I'm here. I'm not. If I wanted an easy life, then I wouldn't have taken it on. So I was aware of the situation at Gloucestershire Airport before I started. The previous managing director resigned in, I believe, June, July. And I got a call from the board. Look, could you come down? Would you be interested? So initially, it was interim airport director, and from April this year, I signed a full-time contract. So I've committed to the airport now as the managing director to lead us forward. So yeah, is it challenging? Yeah, you'll see the claw marks under my desk. Some days it's tough, but I've got a brand new senior leadership team around me, and it sounds a bit corny, but it's all about the team. It's about getting the right people around you. So the brand new SLT, we've got as far as I'm concerned, it's a fresh start. People
will be intently watching this. You know that, don't you? From the GA community, my followers will be intently watching this. This is your opportunity to speak to them. They're going to get on their keyboards and they're going to be commenting and they're going to be analysing everything you've said so far.
Yeah.
Give them some reassurance. Tell them, a final word from you to that community right now.
Well, the GA community are absolutely welcome here. I don't know what rumours are out there, but they're an integral part of us moving forward. We are a diverse airport here, and GA are welcome, and we want to develop that. The trick, of course, is trying to dovetail all that in with everything I've just said. So your business jet operations, MROs, and the GA community. Gloucestershire Airport is known as a GA-friendly airport, and that's going to absolutely continue under my watch.
Interesting meeting the airport managing director, Jason Ivey there, and I think we have to give him credit for coming up in front of the cameras and answering my difficult questions. I think we have to take him at his word and hope that his vision for the future somehow still involves the old spirit of Gloucestershire Airport as we know it and remember it as one of the best places for GA in the UK. But they've got to make money, so something does have to change, and I suppose we will all end up having to make compromises. But at the moment, no detail on that. And I suppose, as I say, we have to take him at his word that GA will still be part of the picture here at Gloucestershire.
Thank you for watching The Flying Reporter. Please subscribe to the channel for more GA news and inspirational flying stories from the UK and beyond. Fly safely, my friends.